Man, there are a lot of misguided people in the world. So that's it, the court case is finally over, and the celebrity grudge match, which the world has been collectively willing to happen for the last couple of years, has been settled, with Amber Heard being declared the unanimous winner by knockout. Actually, every single part of that sentence was wrong. And with this judgment, fans of Johnny Depp, and probably a lot of people who visit MGTOW forums a lot, have all been collectively furious. How can that bitch get away with this? Didn't the court see the mountain of evidence that Johnny had that supported his claim that she's the abuser? Didn't they hear the recording where she admitted that she struck Johnny? She fucked Elon Musk behind his back, you know. She's just a virtue signaling slut. She pulled off his finger and didn't even let him fart afterwards. She is nothing but a gold-digging hooker. The crazy whore shit in his bed. Said the world has finally gone mad. Political correctness is taking over the entire world. You know, they're just throwing the oppressed white man to the bottom of the social hierarchy. If you had any of these thoughts while thinking about this court case, then you should probably stop watching this video. You know, just press stop, hit the dislike button, and head to the comments section to scream in my face and tell me to slip on a pair of Levi Wokes, because I'm clearly just a bullshit virtue signaling woke machine. Go ahead, I don't mind, I'll wait. Right, now that we've weeded out all of the crazy nut jobs who think that guilt or innocence depends on whether you have a P or a V, well, we can talk about this rationally like human beings, And I'll tell you all about how most of us got it wrong, and the reason why we're so surprised by this outcome is because we were thinking about this case incorrectly the entire time. Even me. You know, I feel kind of like I'm uniquely positioned to comment on this case, because in the Venn diagram of YouTubers who talk about film and also criticize people and have also been the victim of a defamation claim, I'm literally the only person who sits right in the middle of that. The only one on the whole of YouTube. That does make me kind of unique. So let's talk about the first misconception. I've suddenly become Sean Warner. It's a terrible impression. I'll edit that out. Alright, so let's talk about the first misconception about this case. You and I, and pretty much everybody in the public eye really, have all been watching this case under the assumption that what was going to happen was a judge was going to take a look at all this evidence between these two eloquent, mentally balanced and completely stable individuals and decide which one abused the other. That was our first mistake. Johnny fans are going to point to Amber's cheating, the recording where she openly admitted to striking Johnny, and the horrific gaslighting that she clearly did on him on a regular basis, as well as the freshly squeezed log right there on his bed, and say that she is the abuser. Whereas Amber's fans, Amber's people? No, Amber's supporters? Does anybody like Amber? Amber's lawyers are going to point to the photographs of bruises, the police reports, the video of Johnny stomping around the house, slamming doors and shouting obscenities, the years of opiate abuse and drinking, and the time when he admitted that he headbutted her, and say that he's an abuser. And in the court of public opinion, that's what we wanted to know. That's what we wanted a decision about. Which of these two people who were paid millions of dollars to lie professionally for a living was telling the truth? But what everyone seems to have missed is that's not what the court case is about. In fact, whether or not Amber did anything is completely irrelevant to this particular court case. Yeah, because the court case isn't about who is the abuser. The court case is about whether or not this headline is true or not. Is Johnny a wife beater? That's the crux of the case. See, it's completely irrelevant if Amber is also a husband beater, because the case isn't about her. It's about Johnny and the Sun newspaper. And it's the YouTube defamer. The infamous YouTube defamer. I'm pretty familiar with defamation laws these days. I feel like I'm a good person to dig into it. And I can tell you that defamation in the UK requires the person accused of defaming someone to prove that what they said is true, or to prove that a reasonable person would come to the exact same assumption if they were presented with the exact same information that the defamer had when they made the defamatory claim. Is that right? Yeah. So let's have a look then. The headline is this: So the part that Johnny contested was this phrase, wife beater. So is there any evidence that Johnny is a wife beater? Let's have a look. So what prompted this headline? Well, this headline was prompted by a couple of police reports and some photographs of Amber Heard being bruised and claiming that Johnny Depp had been abusing her physically for some or most of the duration of their marriage, and she was then filing for divorce on the grounds that she was subject to domestic abuse on a regular basis. That divorce court case was settled outside of court, with Johnny paying Amber $5 million to make the whole thing go away under one condition. She signed a confidentiality agreement to say that she would never discuss these things in public again. That was the only stipulation for him giving her $5 million. She took it. And this led a lot of people to call Amber a gold digger. And it's a reasonable assumption given it seems to be all about money. Well, that is until she donated every single penny of it to a domestic abuse charity. And while it's questionable as to what her motivations for donating the money are, as far as the court is concerned, if she had no interest in the money, then how can she be a gold digger? Because she didn't dig up the gold. And this is what caused Depp to sue the Sun newspaper for libel, which is basically just lying in print. The court case was all about the Sun proving that Johnny actually did beat Amber Heard, at least once. And that brings me to misconception number 2. This was all about Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. It wasn't. It was not about Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp. The whole thing was the Sun newspaper versus Johnny Depp. Amber Heard was not a claimant. She wasn't a defendant. She was actually a character witness in the Sun's defense. You see, Amber couldn't be found guilty of anything because she wasn't on trial. The Sun newspaper was. All the Sun needed to do was to prove that Johnny Depp had in fact beaten his wife at least once, and that would then validate their headline. For the purposes of court, striking your partner in an act of aggression or a part of an aggressive act is what's considered as domestic abuse, or as the Sun calls it, wife beating. So is there any evidence of that happening? That's what the Sun's case rested upon. Could they prove that that incident had happened at least once? The first pieces of evidence that people pointed to was the photographs and the police reports that Amber Heard had submitted to the police when she reported Johnny to be abusive. But as far as the court is concerned, that doesn't prove that Johnny abused her. It just proves that she had bruises. It doesn't prove who gave her the bruises. It doesn't prove how the bruises happened. It just proves that she has bruises. So it was basically her word against his. Two professional liars against each other. So the case would have actually been very easy for Depp and his law team to defend had he not said,
You can headbutt somebody screaming, but don't scream. Huh?
I headbutted you
Couldn't believe you did that.
forehead. That doesn't break enough.
Depp actually admitted that he headbutted Amber Depp. It's on record, it's in an audio recording from a third party, and it's verified by the court as being genuine. Johnny even admits to it. He did later backtrack and say that it was an accident, but if you listen to the recording, it really isn't. That's not how it sounds at the time. It does sound like he tried to headbutt her, he did headbutted her, and that he just didn't break her nose when he headbutted her. So then the question becomes, would a reasonable person, if given this evidence, assume that the Sun's headline of Johnny Depp beating his wife to be accurate? Considering I think most people would say that a headbutt is definitely evidence of one person beating another, and that both Depp and Amber agreed that the incident happened and that it was Depp that did it to Amber, then yes, it does validate the Sun's claim that Johnny Depp is a wife beater. Ergo, the Sun wins. And I gotta say, the only real winner of this whole court case wasn't the Sun, it isn't Amber Heard, it's the two lawyers who both should have advised their clients never to take this to court, because there was nothing good in this for either person. A lot of their dirty laundry was aired in public and made them both look absolutely ridiculous and childish. But the simple fact is, Depp's court case was unsubstantiated. He didn't have any grounds to bring a defamation suit against the Sun when it was so clearly evident and could be evidenced that what the Sun said was true. So the judge ruled on 14 incidents, 12 of which he ruled in favour of Amber, thereby validating the Sun's claim as Amber was the character witness against Johnny Depp. Now, I get what a lot of people, in particular Johnny Depp's fans and even his ex-girlfriends, have said. Like, his ex-girlfriends came out and said, "Oh, he was never abusive with me. I've only known him as being a really sweet guy." Well, if we use that rationale for everybody, it means everybody's innocent. For example, let's imagine that one of Jimmy Savile's friends said, well, never messed about with my kids, so clearly he's fine. He's completely innocent because he didn't do it with my kids. You can't extrapolate that kind of reasoning and stretch it over the entire case. It just doesn't hold up. Does this mean that Amber is innocent? No, it definitely doesn't. I think that some of the things that she did and said towards Johnny Depp is completely despicable, and I do not find her to be a victim in this case whatsoever. But what I do think also, and this is something the judge commented on, is this is two people that abused each other. I don't think either party is innocent, and I don't think either party is 100% guilty either. They just had a really fucked up relationship. But she wasn't on trial. Sun newspaper was, and they were right. As crazy as that is to say, the Sun newspaper, of all newspapers, would be right about anything. But they are right about this. And if you sat there right now thinking, well, she probably deserved that fucking headbutt, it probably says more about you than it does about this case.